Wednesday. I can't believe we're 3 days in already. Today's video is all about macronutrients and macro counting versus intuitive eating. So there's two ways of reaching goals, and the one that I preach to my clients is macro counting because it's the most effective way to reach your goals in an extended period of time without kind of going back to old habits. So that's the one way. The other way is intuitive eating. So let me get into macro counting, what macronutrients are, and talk a little bit about it, and then we'll go into intuitive eating and how that could work for your lifestyle as well. So macronutrients are carbs, fats, and proteins, and those three things are in all foods that you eat and consume. A gram of protein, a gram of carbs, and a gram of fat equal up to calories. So your carbs and fats and proteins throughout the day will equal out to a certain amount of calories. So for proteins and carbs, it's 1 gram is 4 calories, and then for fats, it's 1 gram is 9 calories. So you could do an equation to figure out what your macros are, and if you're going over, under your macros, and then also with your calories, like understanding what your calorie intake should be based on your goals, which are either fat loss, muscle gain, so if you're cutting or if you're bulking or if you're maintaining, those are the three pretty much ways of reaching your goals. So most of the time, most people are looking to lose fat, so they will be in a caloric deficit and trying to cut. So from there, part of this whole journey is hitting your macros is the most effective way to reach that goal. So for me, when I started my journey back in November, I was in a cutting phase for 8 weeks and then for another 12 weeks. And it was a very small cut. I wasn't lowering my calories by a significant amount every week or something like that. I wasn't completely losing my mind over eating calories. So one of the biggest things that people struggle with when they're starting their journey is, I want to lose weight, so I'm going to eat 1,000 calories a day and it should get me there. And that's a complete myth and totally not true. It may get you there, but it's not going to keep you there. So if you lose weight very quickly because you're only eating 1,000 calories a day, in a month you may lose a lot of weight, but then the following month or soon after, you're going to gain all that weight back and maybe even more of it. So macro counting is a great way to lose weight, but also sustain. So keep your calories and your body the way that it looks without reversing and completely losing the body that you have. So to give you some perspective, I was macro counting for about 20 weeks, and then since March I haven't really macro counted since then till now, and I have maintained the weight that I was back in March. So I have kept that same weight, and I've done it with intuitive eating, pretty much eating intuitively. I'll get into that in a second. So let me finish up with macronutrients. So with macros, as a coach, that's what I tell my clients to do, because it's the most effective way to understand how someone is kind of reaching their goals. So making sure that they're hitting their macros will help them efficiently get to a goal that they have and are setting for themselves. And trying to obtain in a certain period of time is definitely one of the things that I focus on. So if there's a specific date that you want to lose weight by, keep in mind it takes time. So you may not see, even if you're in a caloric deficit, you may not see a difference in your body for the first almost 8 weeks. Between like 5 and 8 weeks is when you're finally going to start seeing your body understand that you're hitting these macros, that your body is going to realize that you're trying to do something, you're trying to change the way that you're living your life. So it takes time, and it's not one of those things that will happen overnight. So keep that in mind when you're looking at macro counting. The other side is intuitive eating, and with intuitive eating, that's what I've been doing because I've learned from macro counting what my body enjoys and what it doesn't, what it needs to be nourished and what I enjoy. So from that, I'm able to kind of eat whatever I want, that because I know what I need to eat. So I'm eating the foods that I need to eat intuitively, because I know what makes up certain foods. So from macro counting, you learn how many calories are in certain foods, how much is an ounce, how much is a gram of a certain amount of food. So from there, intuitive eating is quite simple because you know that you need to have a certain amount of certain foods to hit your goals. So intuitive eating is good once you know what you're macro counting, how you've macro counted before, so you know what are in certain foods. With intuitive eating, one of the things that people like to focus on is understanding what your body likes and what it doesn't like. So I recommend to my clients, if they want to do intuitive eating, to do food journaling. So eating foods, writing down the time that you consume them, and then understanding how your body feels after a 30-minute period, after an hour, after 2 hours, and seeing if your body enjoys the food or if it doesn't. So really understanding your body and how it feels, instead of just eating intuitively and eating whatever the heck you want. Because a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm eating intuitively, and they are eating like french fries and burgers, and of course it's okay to eat those things, but that is completely different than intuitive eating. Eating to fuel your body, to nourish your body, to make sure that you're eating the foods that you enjoy. I think that's all I have for those two, but if you guys have questions, of course, comment below. For today's challenge, let's do, I guess it's not going to be a challenge, it's more going to be a question. So what would you rather do? Would you rather macro count or intuitively eat? And whichever one you choose, tell me why. What is pulling you closer to macro counting versus intuitive eating, or what's pulling you closer to intuitive eating versus macro counting? So with that, I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.